fully grown xenomorph. Then underwater with the blown up underwater thing that's 3 miles under the surface, and then monsters. The shallows, where you're stuck on a rock, and a vindictive and jerky
mean
great white shark is circling around you. That's very big. 20 feet,
it's
25 feet?
ginormous shark, yes. It's nearly a baby Meg.
Baby Meg. Jurassic Park 3, where you're stuck on the island and you're being hunted by ill-tempered raptors because you stole and cooked their eggs. You're stuck on that rock pile in Tremors, if you remember the end when they're throwing dynamite. You're on the boat in Anaconda with the snake coming after you. You are in, Akios! Wait, yeah. I can't, never mind. In Deep Blue Sea 2, and you're in Aquatica in Deep Blue Sea. So which 3 would you pick that you think you could actually walk out of alive? And you're Aaron Elroy.
Okay.
You don't have the explosive quads. You don't got the big lats. You don't got the math serum. And you don't got the Misty Calhoun welding skills.
I'm going to go with the shallows first. I think that's survivable.
Really?
Well, if you're the one on the rock, not if you're the people on the beach trying to get to her. They didn't do well.
No. So you're going to take the shallows.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last one I'd pick.
I love the shallows.
I hate sunburns. I like seagulls. The shallows is so good.
I mean, she was in that wetsuit for a bit, though. That protected her from a little bit of the sun.
It'd make a great story later on.
It would make an excellent story.
If I ever survive a monster movie, if I ever survive a monster movie, I would want a lot of scars. Because if I survived like a gang of ill-tempered sea bass in a facility in Antarctica while being chased by an alien and I walked out with no scars, no one would believe you. But if you walk out with a bunch of teeth marks from baby sharks, like just they look like baby teeth sharks, that'd be a great story.
That would be adorable. It would be the cutest little shark bites.
So you're saying adorable little sharks are biting you? That's not scary. You should have been there.
I almost bled out. That's how you got the scar on your neck, right?
Yeah. Baby shark. Latched on. Almost got my aorta.
Wow.
All right. So we got the shallows. What about you, Jay? Which one do you think you could survive?
I'm thinking Aaron. I think Aaron could survive Jurassic Park 3. Because the character in Jurassic Park 3 that Aaron is closest to is Billy. And Billy manages to miraculously survive Jurassic Park 3. He should die. He does die. This is my theory. He dies and his twin is carried out at the end because he died in that birdcage. But if Billy can survive, Aaron is like a slightly less athletic Billy, I would say. But I think Aaron would do the whole grab the parachute and try and fly his way through the birdcage and somehow survive. If Billy can, Aaron can. Anyone can. It's a silly film.
Okay. Without the twin, how did he survive Jurassic Park, that being attacked by those birds in Jurassic Park 3? How did Billy survive?
I mean, I've thought about this a lot. I've seen it. This is like the film I've seen the most that I also hate the most. I've seen it so many times. I don't know why. But
you know the Coldplay Yellow music video? I picture you being Chris Martin from that video, just walking on the beach and just thinking and like singing, trying to think this whole thing out.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, that's not the case. I'm not gonna say that hasn't happened. I do live near a beach, but yeah, how would Billy survive? I mean, you just have to get into the water, I guess. Because the birds can't really go underwater, so you have to get to a deep enough bit and swim down and stay underwater long enough to float out of the aviary somehow.
So you're saying it is plausible that he could survive? I don't think,
because I think he'd have to be down there so long that he would not be able to hold his breath that long. Because he's been like decimated by these birds. They've taken chunks out of him. He should be dead just from those attacks. Like now he's got to try and stay underwater to evade their capture for minutes. I don't see it happening, Mark. Unless like the Spinosaur gets in and wrecks up the birds in there. But there's a lot of ifs and ands and buts here. And I think there's too many. So that's my pick of Jurassic Park 3 because apparently miracles can happen. So.
Yeah. Well, it is an action movie.
What's the last one you'd want to be in?
The last?
Like
Underwater.
All these.
Ooh, yeah, probably. Or Alien. Because, I mean, listen, he's never going to be Ripley.
Yeah. Well, she saves the cat. She might take pity on him and think of him like a pet.
The cat can go in a carrier, though.
Whoa. So we could technically have a screenwriting book called Save the Cat and Aaron.
Save the Aaron, yeah.
Save the Aaron.
Yeah, I think Alien or Underwater. Underwater, though, is so elaborate, it's just, I don't know how you're getting out of that.
No, I don't. I mean, the rocks.
I mean, there's the trek under the sea to the other station and the surviving the monster and just, wow.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I mean, anaconda, a few people do live, but the last thing I'd want to be killed by is an anaconda.
It would take a
In
while.
all of
It
this.
would not be delightful.
I don't know, I feel like being killed by a face hugger would be pretty terrible as well.
Yeah,
True.
because I would just put if a face hugger got me and I knew what the face huggers would do, and I knew what was about to happen to my chest, and it would just become lasagna that like looked like it got thrown into a wall,
Ugh.
I would just say, put me out the air container. Wait, that's not the right word. Airlock?
Space
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, space me. Space me.
But yeah,
I would go out.
that's if you know. If you're John Hurt, if you're Kane, then he doesn't know, and he goes through one of the worst movie deaths ever seen. That would be horrific. It's even worse for the people around him, potentially, because they have to witness it and then go through it. Oh.
I've probably told you this 100 times, but I stood in for John Hurt one time in a movie.
Was that J. Mansfield's car?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I just stand there with my legs all, because you don't squat. That's a rookie mistake, because when you're standing, you got to squat sometimes, stand there for a half hour at times. So if you're squatting, your quads are done. They're jelly. They're done. I don't know why they're meatballs.
So you're implying that John Hurt is not quite as tall as you.
He's about 5'9". So I had to open up my legs as far as possible, and just put it like it was tough. That got tough, but it was better than squatting.
Because you're 8 feet tall, so you were just doing the splits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just sat.
You were doing a full JCVD on
Whoa.
set.
I was about to sing that Enya song, that "Who Can Say," because of the Volvo commercial.
Yeah,
That's
you were
a good-
ahead of the time.
That's a good commercial.
Time Cop was on TV yesterday, and I showed my wife the split scene over the water cooler electrocution. She was speechless. So,
As you should be.
The gratuitous butt shots of JCVD in the 80s and 90s were, like, he took those to a next level. He's like, what do you got, Stallone?
it's glorious.
No, that's some good representation there. Equality for all, butt shots,
Butt shots
men, women, everybody.
JCVD led the charge for that?
Yeah,
Jeez Louise.
Not enough butt shots in Deep Blue Sea 2.
butt shot equality. Make it a thing.
There are no butt shots in Deep Blue Sea 2.
No, the
Well,
camera is
there's
focused
just-
a little higher.
There's
Yeah.
a bit of her swimming footage.
Oh, yeah.
That's true, yeah.
I just love that she showed that video to her class. I'd say that in every episode, but these kids just watch this video.
It reminds me a bit of Shark in Venice when they're talking about, being an expert and teaching the class. And it's just such a ridiculous setup. And you go, oh, okay, that was valuable for the students. But no, I have to go off and save these sharks.
Keep reading chapter 3. What branch of military was Trent Slater in? Because he keeps saying it, in the military.
Do we
Yeah.
actually know, or are we making this up?
Well, he's in the military. He says it in this scene and in a deleted scene.
Yeah.
He says that he had commanders like you in the military. Soldiers are just pieces of chess on a chessboard. Is it just the army that calls them soldiers, or does other branches of the military also refer to the men as soldiers?
That's a great question.
I feel like he was a National Guard.
Like
National
okay.
Guard? Not to laugh at that.
No,
National
I just
Guard?
don't feel like he doesn't give like the real military vibe to me.
Because he's not Air Force. I think he's too big to fit in a plane.
No. He doesn't seem like someone who's seen combat, but he's jaded enough by the experience that he has feelings towards it.
He's
He's
been in
bitter.
combat zones.
Oh, combat zones.
What do you think?
Hmm.
But he's never seen combat.
Yeah, and he's bitter about it. He wanted to, but he didn't get the chance.
Well, maybe Air Force then.
Air Force?
Yeah.
What do you do in the Air Force?
Well, if they're controlling supplies coming in and out of bases.
He's good at scuba. Scuba! Along came Polly. Hey, you guys want to scuba? So do you think he knew how to scuba from his time in the military? Could it be Navy?
Maybe.
Maybe he welded boats. Maybe he was a military.
Oh, I guess maybe would make sense because Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, he's a frogman. And he repairs boats.
Yeah.
He could be a welder
Yeah.
on underwater boats.
Well, Misty's the welder in this one.
Yeah. Well,
She learned it
Who
from
does-
him.
yep, she
There you
watched
go.
him sleeveless welding, his sleeveless welding room. I wish that sign said that over the door. That'd make me so happy.
It would be great if when Misty's using the torch and she's taken her sleeves off, she's like ripped them off of the wetsuit because that's the only way that she thinks she can weld is by being sleeveless.
I can't weld. I have sleeves. Rip. Oh man.
I need more arm freedom.
They're too restricting.
She should though. How many scenes? There's so many movies where guys rip off their sleeves. Like we need Calhoun to have one of those scenes herself.
Well, doesn't Sam Weaving rip off her sleeves in Ready or Not?
Yeah, she goes sleeveless.
Yeah.
Because she has to bind her hand.
Yeah.
From the nasty ass nail wound.
So I think of Hot Shots Part 2, I think, is the scene where she rips up, makes her shirt tiny.
I got a gusher.
She's got a dress Ryan Stiles like splinter or something. I forget.
And her mole that she gives atop her Harley.
Oh, that's so good.
You're as beautiful as the day you dumped me. I love that movie. Some good scuba diving in that. And the guy packs a helium tank instead of an oxygen tank.
Oh my gosh.
And then his fart is so boisterous that it knocks out an entire boat of people.
Makes me miss the literal humor of the 90s and beforehand.
Because you had to write those jokes. You couldn't just improv those things on set.
Yeah, they were.
What would happen if Trent Slater switched out his tank with helium and he comes in, hey guys!
I thought you were going to say what would happen if he farted when he's climbing the ladder and Durant's right below him. But okay.
Oh man, and that's such a slow ladder climb. You'd be wading in that scent for a while.
Yeah.
Whoa. Do you think Misty guided the baby sharks into that room so she could go the other way because she knew she wouldn't have time to climb the ladder?
I don't
you
think
go
so.
Left, I'm going home.
Yeah.
I mean, her plan. This is maybe the worst plan anyone's ever tried in any film ever. I think trying to torch the baby sharks before they go through the door. I cannot think of a worse way to try and stop them.
Well, she puts so much work into it too. She has the part where she goes and finds the materials, and then she goes back, and then she clearly spent time welding the door, and then it's all for naught.
But there's a much easier solution that she could, like, there's two options she could do. One is go into the room with Daniel and Aaron, and then you have a much smaller hole for the sharks to get through which you can attack them with the torch. They're going to have to come through like one by one, and you can be there with the torch, have it on permanently, you're going to fry them all. Or she's got that square of the door she's cut out, stick it back in the door.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a terrible plan.
I have to defend her, Jay, because Megan has seen me before walk into places, and they're like, hey, can you hand me your ID? And I just fumble with my wallet, I drop things, and I'm like, where is that? Where's my wallet? Where am I? And then I freak out, and I'm totally unprepared. So, I mean, this is a scene where little violent baby sharks are hunting her down. She doesn't have much time to think. So she's just reacting. Can we give her a pass on that or no?
Yeah, I mean, that is the excuse. She's...
Yeah, I mean, if Trent got a pass for immediately abandoning the plan he laid out, then sure, why not? Her too. It's happening to everyone. They're panicking.
Wait, that'd have been funny if he goes, where are you going, Durant? And Durant's like, where we just talked about?
Top side?
Did I not just lay out my plan for you?
Okay, I think that in that situation, Trent is concerned that the last time Durant went through a door before somebody else, he then busted it and stopped them from coming through. So he doesn't want Durant to go ahead of him in case Durant busts the ladder somehow and stops Trent from getting out.
Wow. Man. The guilty.
Durant.
You can't trust him.
Nope.
For good reason. I reckon if Durant got to the top, he's got no use for Trent. He knows how to use a phone. He could just if he could like lock the ladder hatch, no one knows what he did.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I mean, he is accessing more of his brain in theory.
Yeah, he just needs to make it last longer.
Yeah. He just needs more time.
I love those little vials he has.
They're so squishy looking. It looks sort of like gooey brain juice. It's obviously not a serum or blood. It is milky and ew.
Well, I feel bad for Michael Beach because he has been in some, well, no, actually, I don't feel bad for him because he got paid to hang out in South Africa. Beautiful country, hang out, visit wineries as we've established on the Cape Town studios. There's tons of wineries. The Cape Town Diner, 3.5 out of 5 on Yelp.
This sounds like a great trip.
So he's hanging out. He's hanging out with the black sales guys. They're all chilling. They're probably going to some local breweries, having fun. He's Michael Beach in it. He's wearing Henleys all the way buttoned up. The Meg, by the way, we watched There's some buttoned-up Henleys in that movie, too, all the way.
Yes. No, didn't he have the very top button unbuttoned at one time?
Yeah. So